Hi, and welcome back. My name is Craig Shaneck. I'm the SVP of Business Development here at Smoothstack. And today we're excited to talk about our DOL, Department of Labor, Registered Apprenticeship Program and how it's shaping tech careers for talented individuals. And we have somebody here who's been through the program. I'm here with Simon, who began their journey with us as an apprentice and has since taken his career into a technical consultant and is now even in a situation where he's hiring apprentices from Smoothstack. Simon, could you share a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Simon. I joined Smoothstack in December of 2020, where I was trained on the Salesforce CRM tech stack, and that resulted in my employment at Accenture Federal Services as a custom software engineering consultant. I joined there about a year ago, back in October of 2023, and I have continued performing the role I was trained in by Smoothstack ever since.
Excellent, and thank you very, very much. Curious, prior to getting into Salesforce, what were you doing?
I graduated from my undergraduate program in mathematics and computer science in May of 2020, so a few months before I joined Smoothstack. And I spent most of that time applying to various entry-level positions and found that I needed something to bridge a bit of a gap in my resume. It seemed like everybody was looking for about a year's worth of experience, and I didn't have that straight out of college. So that's how I came across Smoothstack.
Yeah, that's the perennial problem. We look to hire experienced people, but you have to get experience somewhere at some level. So as you were looking for jobs over those couple months, how did you find the apprenticeship model, or how did you find Smoothstack?
I don't remember for sure. I think I saw a listing on LinkedIn, or maybe it was one of the other job search programs, but I came across the listing in my routine searching and thought it could be a good fit.
So you're looking for, you're on LinkedIn, you're looking for a job like we all would. You see either an advertisement for the role or something along the lines of the Smoothstack program. And you're like, okay, I'm interested. What happened? What happened next? Did they send you an email? Were you automatically selected? How did that work?
So before I could join, there was a little test I had to take to evaluate my technical skills. And then once I succeeded in that, there was a round of interviews. And then after that, there was this sort of 2-week trial period, and make sure that you're prepared for some of the more intense periods of coding, and make sure that your base level is really up to where it should be to succeed in their program before you commit.
Understood. Okay, so it's fairly intense selection process. So you're like, hey, let me try this out. You put your name in. You go through several weeks of a fairly intense selection process. Now you're through that, and you're starting training. What's going through your mind at that point?
So at that point, I wasn't really sure what to think about the program, because those 2 weeks were really difficult for me. But fortunately, at least with my tech stack, the first step was to just learn basic Salesforce administration. So it went from this peak to a really gentle lull, and we gradually learned all of the technical skills we would need from there.
So the training wasn't necessarily as frantic as that initial evaluation period?
Not at all, no.
Good. You said you graduated with a degree in computer science and mathematics. How well were you prepared, given 4-year degree, in very, high-end and respected fields? How prepared were you when you started doing some of the IT work within Salesforce for the first time?
So most of the IT work in Salesforce it aligned with the skills I had built during my 4 years in college, but if I had tried to learn that tech stack on the job, it would have taken me much longer, especially if I was trying to do that in addition to performing other daily duties to contribute to the project.
And in addition, it's virtual training, but you're in with, a cohort with the class. So you have live instruction, and then you've got kind of follow-up assignments that you need to do on a daily basis. How often are you reaching out to your colleagues and your co-students in the cohort?
Every once in a while. So I'm usually a pretty independent learner, but I found that 2 or 3 times I struggled with an assignment, and at least one of my cohorts had a different way of looking at it that helped me figure it out.
Yeah, totally understand. And to me, it's anytime you're learning something new, you're in a new type of experience, seeing people that are doing it as well, it gives me a sense of stability and peace. Just like, okay, other people are doing the same thing. I'm not crazy. These are real emotions. So, all right. So that covers the kind of the recruitment, the training process. Now, as we're getting to the end of training, we've got your client in mind. How are you feeling as you're approaching the graduation date, as you're kind of coming up to your deploy date?
For me, the end was a little bit frantic. We went through a couple different rounds of interviews. Smoothstack actually provided us with additional training during that time, and they helped us get certifications. They even funded our first 2 Salesforce certifications. And that buffer period honestly made me feel much more confident in my ability to become a marketable candidate for the client.
And so, all right, so now it's day 1. You walk on site, or I guess it was probably remote at the time. But you start day 1. I'm sure you're starting with other people, or there's other people who have just started at a similar time to you. How did you feel based on your knowledge? You've just been trained in kind of a lot of information in a relatively short period of time. Now you're ready to go use all that information. How did you feel kind of in comparison with your peers on site or at the client?
Day 1, I was personally very eager and excited because they had a lot of O&M going on, and they were updating the code base in ways that I understood to be best practices. So I felt ready to contribute to that off the get-go.
And now as you look back and, the benefit of hindsight, how important was an apprenticeship to kind of meeting your overall career goals, and where do you think you would have been without it?
I'm honestly not sure where I would be without it. It's even possible that I would have looked somewhere aside from tech for launching my career. But yeah, I can mostly credit Smoothstack with getting me where I am today, if not for the training itself, for the connections they helped me make in getting placed with the client.
Excellent. And, you're since now an employee there, and you've kind of taken your career in the upward direction. What's next for you personally?
For me personally, I'm not sure what's next. I recently earned a promotion on the project that I'm working at after 1 year of working full time. So hoping that I can continue moving forward and eventually reach some sort of management position or get more involved in the architecture on the project.
Mm-hmm. And do you like being in the Salesforce ecosystem?
I do. It's a good fit for me. It aligns with my training, and as frustrating as it can be to develop on top of a platform sometimes, I think everyone in a technical position has to deal with something they don't love. So.
Yeah, excellent. And as we close out here, what advice would you've had an interesting journey through all of these stages, as college graduate, apprentice, consultant, Accenture employee, kind of now hiring manager in this space. You've seen kind of this hire, train, deploy life cycle, an apprenticeship life cycle from every angle. Is there any advice that you would have for either someone considering an apprenticeship like you did after graduation, or for companies who are curious about learning more about the apprenticeship model?
One piece of advice I would give is to try to reach out to people and make connections, which I know is vague, but there's always someone who you can talk to for more information, whether you're an apprentice and you would like to understand more about what tech stack you should be looking into before you apply. Then you can find something that aligns with your interests and make sure that you're going into the right field. And if you're considering getting involved in hiring apprentices, then honestly, the main piece of advice is make sure that you understand your capacity to hire and train entry-level employees, because it's very likely that you would benefit from getting a trained new hire as opposed to somebody who you would need to train yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Simon, we're super happy to be able to have you here today to chat with us about your journey. We're amazingly proud of the advancement that you've made in your career with the small amount of push from us. But again, super proud. Well done. Once again, thank you for joining us. Thanks everybody who joined us to watch this. We are recording this special for National Apprenticeship Week. So a very special, happy Apprenticeship Week to everyone out there. Thank you very much.